right, welcome to DGP Week 11. Please don't forget your name and your core in the top right-hand side of your paper. Spell out 11 for your title, and I know this date will be different from any date that you would be looking at it, but don't forget your commas. Your comma placement is probably one of the biggest mistakes I continue to see. So we have 6 corrections here in this little sentence, and so you can always start out with a capital letter and some kind of end mark, and this end mark is a period. Mr. Gore was proud, ambitious, and persevering. You need Mr., period, Gore, capitalize. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, but we have a list here. He was proud. There's 5. Ambitious, comma, and persevering. So those are your 6 corrections, and we'll move on to Tuesdays. So here's Tuesday. Again, there's the commas. Don't forget how to spell Tuesday. Mr. Gore was proud, ambitious, and persevering. You can see our corrections that we made in our last slide. We have parts of the sentence. We have 1 proper noun, 2 adjectives, a linking verb, a participle, and a coordinating conjunction. Let's just start at the bottom. Coordinating conjunctions bring things together. Probably one of the most common one is the word and. So we'll label and as a coordinating conjunction. Since we're starting from the bottom and going up, let's go to participle. Participles are verbs. I misspelled that. Let me back up there. So we have verbs acting as adjectives, but they end in ed or ing. So even if you are not familiar with a word and whether it is a verb or an adjective, you can start looking and say, oh, does this end in ed or ing? And you can see as you go through here, oh, look, ing. There it is. Persevering is a verb to persevere. It is acting as an adjective because, and we'll talk about this more, it's going to go up and describe Mr. Gore, so it is an adjective, and it meets all the requirements. So we have our participle. Linking verb, let's wait for that for last. And we already talked a little bit about adjectives. So, I forgot to label this. Sorry, participle. These words all go back to describe Mr. Gore. He is proud. That's an adjective. He's ambitious. That's another adjective. So now you have all of your adjectives, and we have 1 proper noun, 1 specific person. That's Mr. Gore. So we'll just, his whole name is our proper noun. We only have 1 thing left. That 1 thing left is our linking verb. It is tying our subject part of the sentence to the predicate adjectives in our predicate part of the sentence. Moving on, looks like we did this one on Thursday. Now we are looking at parts of the sentence. If you listen, you'll hear me. I've already said a bunch of this stuff. Let's start at the bottom again. We have a predicate adjectives. These 3 things are all predicate adjectives. They are adjectives, in this particular case a participle, all in the predicate part of the sentence that go back to rename, in this case describe, Mr. Gore. So there you have all of your predicate adjectives. We were given a clue that there were 3. We found all 3. You already know what the verb is. We just talked about it. It's this verb here. Was is your linking verb. It's what connects your subject part of the sentence to the rest of the sentence. So we already have that. Our subject, Mr. Gore was, so you have that. That is all there is to this other than underlining. So I'm going to get another color. Mr. Gore is your subject. Everything else is your predicate. So that is Thursday. And then we'll move on to Friday. Here we have Friday. It is whatever date. You can use this date. Don't forget those commas. So many times, that's what people lose credit or lose points for. This is what I call my final 4. Some people call it a devil's fork. I forgot what somebody else said. Whatever you call it, you can probably already tell, even if you don't know these words, that they're going to go here. And order is important. So proud goes up there. Ambitious and then finally persevering. These three are linked together by that coordinating conjunction, which will appear there. So even if you don't know and you feel like you don't know what you're doing, you can see how this fits as a puzzle. Your subject goes here, your verb goes here, nothing goes there at all. That's just a way to separate your predicate adjectives from the rest of your sentence. In fact, sometimes, if it helps you to have a visual, say that these things on this side of the line go back to rename or describe what's on this side of the line. So our subject is Mr. Gore, and our verb is was. You can tell it's a linking verb because of the slanted line. If it were an action verb, for example, if I did Molly kicked the ball. Kicked is obviously an action verb. Your diagram would look like this. Molly kicked ball, and then you'd have the ball. Notice the difference. This is perpendicular, and this is slanted. So that is your DGP for week 11. Hope this was helpful, and we'll do another one next week. Thanks.